I was 17 when it happened. Me and two of my friends, Nick and James, decided to go camping for the weekend in the Pine Hill Forest, about 40 miles outside town. We were just 3 kids trying to escape school stress, maybe drink a few beers, and talk about things that felt important at that age. The forest was dense but beautiful. Old trees, moss-covered trails, and a stillness that felt ancient. I remember thinking how peaceful it was. Too peaceful, maybe. It was the kind of place where time seemed to stop. And maybe, just maybe, something else was watching. We got there around 3 p.m. It took a while to hike in, and even longer to find a flat spot to set up our tents. There was no one else around. Not a single soul. No other tents. No cell service. Nick made a fire. James pulled out the snacks, and I started pitching our little dome tent. We were laughing, telling dumb stories, and pretending we were tougher than we actually were. But even then, I felt something. That kind of silent pressure in the air, like the trees themselves were listening. The first night was quiet. Too quiet. No crickets, no owls, no wind, just the fire crackling. James joked that maybe we were already dead. Nick said, "Stop being a horror cliché." We all laughed, but I kept glancing into the woods. The trees were black shapes against the night sky. They didn't move, but I kept thinking they would, like something was standing just behind them, waiting for us to close our eyes. Around 1 a.m., we were all in our sleeping bags. I couldn't sleep. I was listening, half hoping I'd hear something normal. Then I did. A crack, then another. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. I sat up. James was already awake, whispering, "Did you hear that?" Nick peeked out of the tent zipper but couldn't see anything. Then we heard it. Something breathing. Not deep human breaths, but short, wet inhalations. We all grabbed flashlights and went outside. We didn't see anything at first, just tall grass and endless trees. Then I noticed something near the tree line, branches twisted and broken, as if something large had moved through. Nick whispered, "Probably a deer." But I had been hunting with my dad. I've seen deer. They don't crush the underbrush like that. Still, we went back to sleep, or at least tried. The next morning, we found tracks, but they weren't paw prints. They looked like long fingers, 5 digits, like a hand, but stretched, as if someone had walked on all fours, dragging their fingertips through the mud. James said it was a prank. Nick tried to laugh it off. I didn't say anything, but something told me we weren't alone in that forest. The second night was colder. The fire wouldn't catch as easily. Even Nick, who never shuts up, was quieter. Then, just after midnight, we heard it again. Not just footsteps this time. Laughter, high-pitched, wrong, like a recording played backwards. We turned off the lanterns and held our breath. Out in the woods, 2 eyes reflected our light. They were too far apart, too high off the ground. Then they blinked. Sideways. James yelled. Nick dropped the flashlight. We ran. No plan, no direction, just ran. Whatever it was, it didn't chase. Not loudly anyway, but I swear I could hear it behind us, breathing that wet, hungry sound. When we stopped, we realized we were completely lost. No idea where the tents were, the fire, the trail. Nothing looked familiar. The forest had swallowed everything. We stayed huddled under a rocky ledge until morning. No one slept. When daylight came, everything looked normal again. Birds chirping, trees harmless. We found the campsite eventually. Our bags were torn open. The fire was still burning, but there were symbols drawn in the ash. Circles, eyes, teeth. We never told anyone. Nick stopped speaking to both of us. James transferred schools. I still have nightmares. The breathing, the laughter, the thing in the woods that wasn't an animal. And sometimes, when I'm home alone at night, I swear I hear it again. Closer, waiting.
Last summer, I went on a solo camping trip in the northern part of Oregon. Deep woods, no signal, just me and nature. I'd just gone through a breakup and needed time alone. Time to think. The trail I followed wasn't on most maps. I found it on a local forum. The Watcher's Path, they called it. Someone had written, "Beautiful view, but don't stay past sundown." I thought it was just a creepy little joke, but now I wonder if they were trying to warn me. It started normal enough. Birdsong, cool breeze, pine needles crunching under my boots. The path twisted strangely, though, like it was purposefully winding in loops, almost as if it wanted me to go deeper. After hiking for hours, I found a clearing, a perfect circle of grass surrounded by thick woods with stones placed evenly along the perimeter. It looked arranged, like something out of a ritual, but I was too tired to care. I set up camp right in the middle. That night, the air changed. Still, too still, not even wind. Then the whispers began, very faint, like someone talking just behind the trees. Not words, just intonation. It sounded like my name. I chalked it up to wind through the branches, but I didn't sleep, not really. In the morning, everything looked the same, except the sun never moved. It just hovered above the treetops. No matter how long I walked, no shadows changed. My phone was dead, but my analog watch ticked forward like normal. I walked east for hours, hoping to find the main trail again, but every path twisted back to the clearing. It was like the woods had turned into a loop. And in every loop, I started to notice things that weren't there before. A carved symbol on a tree, a pair of shoes half buried in moss, a handprint on my tent flap. On the third day, I don't even know if it was really the third, I saw it. Something standing just beyond the clearing, tall and motionless. It looked like a man, but wrong. Too thin, too still. No face. Just a white void where the features should be. It never moved, just stood there, watching. I screamed, I threw a rock. It vanished between blinks. But I knew now, I wasn't alone. Hadn't been since I set foot on that path. Every time I slept, I'd wake up back in the tent. Even if I ran all day, built a new shelter, moved camp, I'd still wake up back in the circle, everything reset, except me. Food spoiled, my legs hurt worse each day, but the firewood always stayed fresh. The grass never wore down. The only constant was him, the faceless figure, watching from somewhere near the tree line, and every day he was closer. One day I found something near a fallen log, an old, cracked voice recorder. I hit play, static, and then day 14, still no way out. I tried walking north again. It brought me back to the clearing. He's watching. He gets closer when you sleep. I think he feeds on memory. It ended with a scream. I dropped the recorder. I tried everything, climbing trees, burning the symbols, following moss. I even tried staying awake for 2 days straight. But the moment I passed out, I woke up in the same damn place. My journal entries started to repeat. Pages I didn't write, filled in my own handwriting, but talking about things I hadn't experienced yet. And one night, my tent was zipped from the outside. I don't know how I escaped. I remember blacking out near the stones. I remember screaming at the sky, begging to go home. And then I woke up at a ranger station. They said I was missing for 4 hours. I had a full beard, My nails were cracked and long. My shoes were falling apart. They said there's no such trail called the Watcher's Path, but I remember every second. Now, when I try to sleep, I hear the whispers again, not outside, but inside my head. And sometimes, just before I drift off, I see him standing in the hallway of my home, still, faceless, waiting. I never left the forest. Not really.